Okay, my friends, I thought in this video we could do a quick frequently asked questions because I totally understand some of you are coming in only at the point of the varicocele embolization and you maybe haven't seen what happened on how we got to this point or did our DNA fragmentation or what the DNA fragmentation revealed. So I thought we could go over it quickly here. So number one, let's start with, did we have any reasons of why we went and got a DNA fragmentation test? The answer is kind of no. So my husband has had quite a few semen analysis, and at the beginning of all of this, they were suboptimal. To quote the exact text message that he got from his GP, it said his results are a little suboptimal. Like, that's what it said. What does that mean? So we do have the results from back then, but I can't remember what they say. But his semen analysis that he did with Dr. Ramsey in November 2024, that was the best semen analysis he had ever given. And that one was deemed as normal. So let this be your sign. You can have a normal semen analysis and still really high DNA fragmentation. And even the one, I believe it was in April. No, it wasn't April. No, it was April. I think it was April 2023. That one was also considered normal. Now, here's the thing about semen analysis that I feel like most fertility clinics, most, GPs and stuff aren't saying to you is that fertility rates have dropped so much that what they consider as normal now would have been considered abnormal 20 years ago. So do with that with what you want. But here's the thing. The semen analysis that we had is saying that it was normal. So there was no reason for us to necessarily go do a DNA fragmentation test. But we did know he had a varicocele. Even at the beginning of all of this, he went to the GP when he was, I think, 18 or 19 because he saw an episode of Embarrassing Bodies and there was a guy with a varicocele on the show and he was like, I think I have that. But again, he went into the GP. The GP checked him and was like, nah, you don't have that. But here's the thing. The first GP that checked him out when he was lying down. And that's apparently a big no-no when you're looking for a varicocele. You should be checking the testicles when you're standing up. So then I would say this was probably 2022, early 2022. We brought it up with the GP again and we're like, look, we're pretty sure he has a varicocele. And then they had him come in, they checked him again. They're like, yeah, you have a varicocele, but they're quite common. This is probably not the issue, etc. We then had seen somebody else who is also a GP and we told her about the varicocele and she had said, oh yeah, there's not that much information correlating a varicocele to male factor infertility. It's probably from something else and not the varicocele. And then at that point, she had brought up if he had ever had the mumps. And we said, yeah, he did have the mumps. But after our appointment with Dr. Ramsey, he went through some questions and he was like, this is probably not happening because of the mumps. Basically, because my husband had no swelling down there when he had the mumps. So the whole kind of pathway to how we got to the point of doing a DNA fragmentation test is I saw a girl here on TikTok go do one and I just had an intuition. I just had a gut feeling that this was the issue and it loomed over me for years. And so after our second transfer resulted in a chemical, I was like, right, I do think that we should see this urologist. I didn't think my husband would say yes right away because usually he has to take some time to mull things over, but he did. And it was a 3-month wait to get in with Dr. Ramsey. So that's how we got to the point of knowing that there was, doing a DNA fragmentation test. Then when you do the DNA fragmentation test, basically you have to wait for a certain period of time to get your results back. We got those results back just at the end of 2024. And then I would say middle of January, maybe end of January, my husband booked his varicocele embolization. Now, the next common question, I feel like I've only got through one common question throughout all of this that we're getting is, so many people are like, well, how do you resolve your DNA fragmentation? And from my understanding, you resolve your DNA fragmentation based off of the reason of why you have DNA fragmentation. In our circumstance, it is because of a varicocele, but from my understanding, you can have DNA fragmentation for a variety of reasons. It might be maybe you need to go on a course of antibiotics. It might be that you need to go on a different diet, etc. We were hoping it would be something that was resolved with just maybe a diet change, but unfortunately that was not on the cards for us. I would say the last question that we're getting over and over again is how much this cost. Again, depending on what the reason is, I feel like that is going to dictate what price point you're at, and also who you go to for your varicocele embolization, if that's what is causing your DNA fragmentation. I feel like the prices are different all around the country. I've seen some people saying in Ireland it's around 4K, some people saying up north it's around 4K. However, we had ours done on Harley Street, and it was £6,500, £1,000 then to consultant fees, then £350 for the checkup 3 months after, and then Dr. Ramsey's part was just under, I think, $1,950. And then once we're 3 months post-op, we need to book in to have a semen analysis done again and a DNA fragmentation test done again, which I think is probably going to be anywhere between 800 and another £1,100. So it hasn't been cheap.